Marcus Hamilton had everything a man could dream of, except someone to share his birthday with. At 42, he stood atop the towering empire he'd built through sheer grit and persistence. From the windows of his penthouse, the city he had mastered stretched endlessly before him. His daily planner overflowed with meetings worth millions, and his name carried weight in boardrooms from coast to coast. Yet on this rainy Tuesday evening in March, Marcus found himself wandering alone through the narrow lanes of the city's historic district, chasing something he couldn't quite define. The rain had begun falling just after his assistant gently reminded him it was his birthday. "Shall I book you a dinner reservation, Mr. Hamilton?" she'd asked. But where would he even go? His parents had passed long ago. His former wife had remarried and now lived on the opposite coast. And his business acquaintances? They vanished when the deals ended. So he sent his driver home and chose to walk, letting the cool spring rain soak his tailored suit as he moved through streets he barely remembered anymore. That's when a warm, comforting scent drifted into the air. Drawn by the aroma, Marcus soon found himself in front of a tiny bakery, nestled between a second-hand bookstore and a flower shop. A soft, golden glow spilled out through the windows, casting a gentle light across the damp pavement. Despite the hour, a small open sign still flickered in the doorway. Peering through the rain-smeared glass, he saw a woman in her 30s arranging baked goods behind a display, while a little girl with curly blonde hair sat at a nearby table, carefully topping a pristine cupcake with a single red cherry. Something about the scene made Marcus stop in his tracks. It had been years, decades maybe, since he'd stepped into a place like this. His world was sleek and metallic, full of conference rooms and profit margins. But this bakery felt like stepping into a memory he hadn't realized he'd lost. A bell jingled softly as he opened the door, and the woman looked up, offering a weary but sincere smile. "Evening," she greeted warmly. "I'm Elena, and this is my daughter Sophie. We were just about to close. What brings you out in weather like this?" Marcus glanced at his rain-drenched suit and likely appearance, a businessman clearly caught in a storm. "I was just walking," he said quietly. "The rain snuck up on me." Sophie, who seemed about 5, looked up from her cupcake with wide, curious eyes. She examined Marcus with the honest interest only children possess. "Mama," she whispered loudly, "why does the man look sad?" Elena gently rested a hand on her daughter's shoulder. "Sophie, remember what we said about using our inside voice?" But Marcus knelt down to meet Sophie's gaze, something he hadn't done with a child in years. "What makes you think I'm sad?" he asked gently. Sophie tilted her head, thinking carefully. "Your eyes look like Mama's did when Daddy went to heaven," she said. "Like you miss somebody." The child's pure honesty hit Marcus like a blow to the chest. Elena's face flushed with embarrassment, but Marcus raised a reassuring hand. "You're very observant, Sophie," he said softly. "It is my birthday today, and I suppose I do miss having someone to celebrate with." Sophie's eyes widened in concern. "It's your birthday? And you're all by yourself?" Marcus nodded, surprised at how easily he admitted it. Without hesitation, Sophie held out the cupcake she'd just decorated. "I saved you some cake, mister," she said with sweet simplicity. "Everyone should have cake on their birthday." Marcus looked down at the small cupcake. White frosting swirled perfectly, a single red cherry on top. In his world of extravagant dinners and catered events, he had never seen anything so beautiful. "Sophie," Elena said gently, "you worked on that cupcake all afternoon." "But he needs it more than I do," Sophie replied. "Birthdays are supposed to be happy." Marcus felt something shift inside him. A wall he'd built over years of heartache and ambition cracked. When was the last time someone had given him something expecting nothing in return? When had anyone last seen him not as a CEO, but simply as a human being in need of kindness? His hands trembled slightly as he accepted the cupcake. "Thank you, Sophie," he said. This is the most meaningful gift I've received in a long time." Elena watched the moment unfold, her expression softening with quiet understanding. In the years since her husband's accident, she had come to recognize loneliness when she saw it. "Would you like to sit a while?" she offered, gesturing toward the small tables near the window. "I can make some coffee." Marcus looked out at the pouring rain, then back at the cozy room filled with warmth and the scent of sugar and spice. For once, there was no urgent meeting awaiting him. No deadline pulling him away. "I'd like that very much," he said. As Elena began to brew coffee, Sophie clambered into the seat across from Marcus, her legs swinging as she watched him openly. "Are you really rich?" she asked with the unfiltered curiosity of children. "Sophie," Elena called from the counter. But Marcus chuckled, a genuine laugh escaping him, his first in what felt like ages. "What makes you say that?" "Your clothes are fancy," Sophie noted. "And you smell like the meetings Daddy used to go to. Serious stuff." Marcus glanced at his designer suit, polished shoes, and the luxury watch on his wrist. "Worth more than most earned in a year." "I guess I am," he admitted. "But right now, sitting here with you and your mom, I feel wealthier than I have in a long time." For the next hour, as rain tapped against the windows, Marcus found himself sharing stories he hadn't told in years. He spoke of his childhood in a small town much like this one, about his parents' modest grocery store, and the dreams he'd had before his ambition took over. Elena shared too, how she and her husband had opened the bakery 5 years earlier, how she'd been fighting to keep it afloat since his death, and how Sophie's joy in baking had helped her survive the hardest days. "Sometimes," Elena said softly, "the smallest kindnesses are what carry us through." Sophie had fallen asleep in her chair, still holding a crayon from the birthday card she'd been drawing for Marcus. Elena gently draped a sweater over her. The peaceful image of the child who had shown such spontaneous compassion moved something deep in him. "She's extraordinary," Marcus whispered. "You both are." "She has her father's heart," Elena replied. He always believed a person's true character was shown not by what they accomplished, but by how they treated others when no one was looking. Marcus thought about his life. Years spent scaling the ladder of success, while losing touch with what truly mattered. Boardrooms full of people who feared or respected him, but never really knew him. When the storm finally eased, Marcus knew it was time to go. But before he left, he did something that would have surprised anyone who knew the guarded executive. He wrote a check. Not a tax-deductible donation or a strategic gesture, but something personal. A gift that would ensure the bakery never struggled with rent or supplies again. A gift for Sophie's future education. A gift born from gratitude, not obligation. "I can't take this," Elena said quietly, stunned by the amount. "Please," Marcus replied. "Today your daughter reminded me of something I'd long forgotten. That kindness doesn't need a reason. And the most precious gifts are those given from the heart." He knelt beside Sophie one more time, and gently tucked her drawing into his pocket. A simple crayon sketch of 3 stick figures under a rainbow. Him, Elena, and Sophie. "Happy birthday," written in careful letters. "Thank you, Sophie," he whispered, "for showing me what birthdays are really about." As Marcus stepped out into the night, the rain had stopped. Stars were beginning to peek through the parting clouds. For the first time in years, his mind wasn't filled with meetings or market projections. He was thinking about a little girl who had seen past his suit and success, and met him with pure, unfiltered love. He was thinking about everything he'd missed in a world that traded warmth for efficiency. And yes, he was crying, not from sorrow, but from the stunning, humbling realization of what it meant to be truly seen and cared for. The next morning, Marcus began making changes that no one in his corporate circle could have foreseen. He became a regular visitor to the bakery, not as a patron but as a friend. He watched Sophie grow up, helped Elena grow the business, reconnected with a part of himself he'd long abandoned on his climb to success. But most of all, he carried with him the lesson from that rainy birthday evening. That true wealth isn't measured in assets or status, but in the unexpected kindness of others and the courage to receive it. The cupcake was long gone, but its sweetness lingered in his heart for the rest of his days. In a world full of noise and complexity, sometimes the clearest truths come from the simplest hearts.